Okay, and the last thing we want to pout, 2, 3. And the last thing we want to point out is that this dipole can cancel itself even if we're looking at things in 3 dimensions. And the example I give here is CCl4. So here again, we would say carbon gives us 4 electrons, chlorine gives us 7 each. All right, but there's 4 of them, which is going to give us a total of 28. And just to do it quickly for you, what we end up with is a structure that looks like this, all single bonds and lone pairs, because that works out to 32 electrons, which is what we're supposed to get. And so you should really quickly look at that and see that it's sp3 hybridized, all right, because there's no pi bonds. And so that should really quickly tell you that this is a tetrahedron. All right, 109.5 degree bond angle. All right, and then if we looked at the difference in electronegativity, we'll see that chlorine has 3.16 and carbon's is 2.55. And that works out to a difference in electronegativity, excuse me, of 0.61. All right, and that means that it has polar bonds, which means that we have to come in here and draw dipoles. So we have one dipole here because the electrons are going to spend more time with chlorine than they do with carbon. We have another dipole here because, again, more time with chlorine. We have another dipole here down towards this chlorine. And we have a final dipole here down towards this chlorine. And it's a little awkward to draw these, but if you put them together, you'll see that, again, they're perfectly symmetrical. So we have one dipole going straight up, one dipole with it like that, one of them coming forward towards us, like this, and one of them heading away from us, like that, badly drawn, and they cancel out. Again, you don't have to draw it like this, but what we know is it cancels out because they're symmetrical. Because we know hybrid orbitals always try to make the angle between them perfectly equal. And so the dipoles end up all going in exactly opposite directions. And so this would be not polar, again, even though each of the bonds is polar. And the last thing to show is that if we change just one chlorine out for something different, so if I replaced a chlorine, say, with a double bond, so say I had Cl here, here, and here, and instead, or a lone pair of electrons, or even a hydrogen. And actually, let's do that. Let's say we have carbon to chlorine and chlorine. And this one's also chlorine. But now this bond heading backwards here isn't to another chlorine, but it's to a hydrogen. Well, now we would have a dipole going this way, a dipole going this way, and a dipole going down towards the chlorine, but we wouldn't have a dipole going back towards the hydrogen because that bond isn't polar. And so we would end up with these three that would produce a net dipole. And so we would say the molecule is polar because it's not symmetrical. All right, and there's a great video I'm going to post next to this of of a British chemistry teacher. He's a lot better than I am. Explains it a lot more clearly. I'm going to use some really good animations that I think show it well. So this lesson here kind of shows you the note we did, but he's going to show you well, and it ends with this really great animation showing the concept, which I can't stress enough. So I encourage you to watch that. It's attached on this site. And when you finish with this, you've got time to work on the rest of your assignments that are due. Thanks for watching.